Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another broadcast of the Lawrence Report. On tonight's broadcast, we will be discussing episode 5 of Black Cake. Whew. At this point, I just don't know how many more secrets can Covey possibly have in her lifetime. On the last episode, we saw that Covey reveals that Benny and Byron, they do have a sibling by the name of Mabel. Apparently, this sibling was adopted, and it is believed that the situation that happened back in Scotland when Kofi was unfortunately raped, that man could actually be this girl's father. Of course, we do find out that the secret was so deep that Kobe couldn't even really tell Gibbs about it. So basically, he kind of passed away without him knowing that not only does he have two children, but he has a third one that he didn't know about. So yeah, Kobe, the mother of secrets. That's a lot. So we meet Mabel. Mabel is basically like a culinary guru, right? So this woman, Mabel, is apparently passing. And when we say passing, basically what we're saying is she's living her life as a white woman, but she has black DNA inside her body. Of course, we all know about the born drop rule. So basically, she's so, I don't even want to say fair skinned, but she's so white that she doesn't even know that her history, her roots, her DNA is basically made of a Chinese half black woman and another black man from the Caribbean. She doesn't even know that. So she is passing basically. And she is in this food discussion about indigenous food and the background and things of that nature. And this one black woman, sitting at the table was trying to figure out, how can you, as a white woman, be able to critique the foods of the indigenous? Like, you're not even, you're a white European woman, and we see that for Mabel, she was brought up, very educated, some of the best in finest schools around. She comes from a very affluent background, very well off, So after the whole, culinary debate, Mabel returns home and she's, talking about, well, how she got into a heated discussion about the food or whatever. And, she's trying not to get canceled. And at the dinner table, we meet her son. And I'm looking at her son. I'm looking at the texture of his hair. And it looks like this dude right here might be biracial or mixed himself. But I don't think that the son really knows that. Apparently, there were some issues going on with the father that, they didn't go into too much detail about it yet. But I think maybe as the series goes on, we will find out more information. So the mother goes out on a little date night. And while she's on date night, she receives a phone call from Benny and Byron's family lawyer. Of course, she looks at it, who's calling me all the way from California, right? And, he asked, hello, this is Mabel. She's like, yeah, this is Mabel. And, he goes in detail saying, basically you are adopted. Did your parents who were raising you, did they not tell you? She's like, no, this must be some kind of mistake. You've got the wrong number. And it draws a bunch of concerns and, a lot of looks upon her face at that time. Like, what do you mean I'm adopted? Like, that cannot possibly be true. So the family attorney says, you know what? I'll email you some information for you to see that, yeah, you are adopted. And, when Mabel returns home, she looks in the mirror. She's touching her hair, touching her nose. Like, could you possibly believe that you've been on this earth for, let's say, 30, 35 plus years, and you're just now finding out that you're adopted? Like, your whole life has basically been a lie. Like, who are you? Like, what is my identity? Like, where did I truly come from? And at that point in time right there, she's looking at herself in the mirror. She's thinking, wow, is this real? Like, this cannot be real. Like, my entire life has been a complete secret. So later that night, like basically she doesn't even believe the skin that she's in, right? So later that night, she is completely in shock. And it's about, I guess, looks like it's like 2 or 3, maybe 4 in the morning, right? She goes to her adopted parents' room and she asks them a couple of heartbreaking questions. So late in the midnight hour, Mabel comes to her family, to her mother and dad, to get information to see that is this true. And basically, the facial expressions from her mother and dad tells her everything that she needs to know. That, yeah, you were adopted, and that your whole life has basically been uh, a secret that we just cannot reveal it to you, and we didn't know how to tell you. At the same time, we see Byron. Him and Lynette. They're talking, and she's just like, listen, how many times are you going to be the company's mascot? Like, I want you to stand up for what you believe in. I want you to be the man that, that was always down for the cause, right? But something happened along the way where, Lynette is now just saying, like, Byron, this ain't gonna work if you're not gonna be the stand-up guy that I need you to be, right? And Byron gets his phone call from his boss. His boss wants him to basically participate in this diversity panel. Of course, when Lynette hears that, she's like, listen, I love you, but it's just not the same. It's not the same. And until you can be the man that I need you to be, I gotta go. And speaking of, lovers and things of that nature, this woman right here, Benny, cannot seem to let go of her ex, right? She goes back talking to her ex, Steve, and there is a sculpture that she destroys. She goes back to his house. She destroys the sculpture, right? She calls her brother, Byron, let him know that, hey, if anything happens to me, I'm going to ping my location. He's like, wait, what are you doing to Steve? Like, I thought you cut ties. Heck, I mean, we all thought she cut ties with him, actually, Byron. I mean, I thought that she cut ties too, but I guess not. So he's racing to get to his sister, right? He gets a location. He's like, I can't let nothing happen to her. We've done this much healing and trying to process things. I'm going to get to a location. He's driving, he's speeding. He gets there. And he sees his sister and Steve outside. And, Byron's already upset that, the main reason why my sister missed the funeral because of you, right? Because you're such a controlling freak. Him and Byron get into it. Byron punches him. And of course, being a black man in America, when you hold a high position like Byron has, right, it all can go downhill in a flash, right? So they're fighting, they're arguing, they're punching, and all these people outside the apartment complex, they're recording this fight. And I'm like, man, I hate this for Byron, because I'm thinking about the position that he has at the company. I'm thinking about how a lot of times we as black people, we don't get that extra saving grace if we end up making a mistake, right? I'm like, man, all this can come crashing down for Byron. Of course, again, Benny. Benny. Yeah, she. Oh man, I don't know what to say about Benny at this point. I don't know what to say. She's kind of getting on my nerves a little bit. I'm trying not to go there, but yeah, she is slowly getting on my nerves with all the things that she's doing. So the episode ends with Byron, getting recorded, and the police show up, and yeah, yeah. Thanks, Benny. Yeah. So again, if you're not watching Black Cake, I don't know what you're waiting on. Again, one of the best shows on TV right now on Hulu. If you're watching it, please comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts. And as always, thank you for tuning in to The Lawrence Report.